Let's see here. All right, cool. All right, we're live. All right, this is my first time streaming on YouTube. Yeah, pretty different from streaming on whatnot. So this time I'm not selling anything or, just waiting around for conversation. I don't really care who watches this, to be honest. So if you come across this video, welcome. All right, so just wanted to talk a little bit about the Lorcana space and my thoughts on it, especially coming from a Pokemon collecting background. So here we go. Let's try it. Hope the audio is good. All right, cool. Just gonna test right here. All right. So I am going to go ahead and let's get into it. All right, so we have Winter Spell coming up in less than a month. But let's start off with Fabled. I think a lot of people that I met through who's new to Lorcana all started with this set right here, Fabled. So let's go ahead and just take a look at it right now. Right there. All right, so with Fabled, let's take a look at take a look at some of the first. Let's take a look at the booster box. So the booster box is interesting. It rose up sporadically. Like at one point, yeah, you could buy this for $120. I started buying it when it first came out. So around October. No, earlier than that. Let's go to the 6-month mark right here. So late July, and if you remember late July for any Pokemon collectors out there, August was the peak delusional state of Pokemon, in my opinion. I felt like everything shot up. Everyone who had any kind of sealed product instantly printed profit. It was pretty crazy. And if you had any sort of sealed product in Pokemon, especially 151, I think that's when 151 became $100 booster box, not booster bundle. Sorry. And so if you had a bunch of them, then you can go ahead and sell. And not gonna lie, that's what I did. And I remember when Fabled came out, there wasn't too much hype. It was around this price, around $140, which is MSRP, I believe, for standard Lorcana. So it shot up to like 173. I don't remember seeing that in stores. I think the LGSs were pretty faithful to sticking to their 140 at most, but it dipped for a while because I felt like between Fabled all the way to Whispers, they just printed Fabled to the to the freaking ground right here, to the point where it went down to 128. Now, this is pretty normal from what I've seen other sets doing in Lorcana. It's pretty normal for this kind of drop to happen. But here's the difference between Fabled and the other sets before it. One, it introduced iconics, and we'll take a look at the iconic Mickey in a little bit. Two, it also introduced epics, but I'll go on a little tangent on that one soon. And it had this whole list of enchanteds that were all just beautiful art. Now, you talk to a longtime player of Lorcana, they absolutely hated the fact that this set was just a reprint of chapter 1 or first chapter. So in terms of playability or playing the game, most of them also had to deal with rotation. So sets 1, 2, 3, and 4 were out of rotation. They're no longer being played at tournaments. And so 5 through 9, now 10 at the time, was the only cards you could use. Now, in terms of collectability, fantastic. Like, I'm master setting myself this set. It's taken me a while. I'm actually about like 3 cards short, and you could guess which cards I don't have. And that's the Mickey iconic, the mini iconic, and the Winnie the Pooh, which happens to be like one of the most expensive enchanteds, aside from the 2 expensive iconics. So anyways, right here, I was buying a lot of Fabled around this price here, 140 to 120, depending on who was selling it, right? And then after Whispers in the Well came out, it seemed like we got no Fabled anymore. You could find the other sets, you could find Rain of Jafar, you can find Shimmering Skies, but you can't find Fabled anywhere right now unless you're lucky. Especially Troves. Haven't seen a Trove since release of Fabled. Now, right now it's at a market of 157, 158, right? I would say if you're purely a collector, like you have no interest in playing the game, yeah, that's a price that's compared to a Pokemon booster box at market. This is like almost a no-brainer. But I've also been in here long enough to know that 150 for a Lorcana booster box is pretty exceptional. Like that's actually kind of like let's take a look at the other sets. Let's take a look at Rain of Jafar. So the set right before Fable. The booster box for this, look at that right there. $83. Remember, this came out the same year Fabled came out. It's actually kind of crazy that this literally came out months before Fabled. Now, of course, it doesn't have the iconics. It has some nice cards in it. Not gonna lie, it has some playable cards. But I want you to look at this. So, jeez. Okay, so look, March 168 went all the way down, like not even 2 weeks. Went down and just kept on going. Is this worth getting? In my opinion, yes. I think if you're thinking about collecting, just investing, whatever you want to call it, right? I just want everyone in Pokemon, especially like me, who comes in, I just want you to know that the population of players in Lorcana is like it's like 90% players. So letting you know that right now, it's like 90% players, and there's not that many collectors. And most of the time, from what I've seen, including myself, collectors end up playing the game because it's pretty easy to get into. And because of rotation from Fabled, it gives new players a chance to keep up with the meta. So if you're deciding to either start investing, my opinion is learn to play the game, because there are some cards in it that's not enchanted that are worth some kind of money, but you only can understand it if you play the game. And I'm sure it's like the equivalent of Monkey Dory or Pheasantipity in Pokemon TCG. So, yeah, that being said, it's definitely something to keep in mind that most of the Orkana population are players, which is different because in Pokemon, I hate to say it, people like kind of clown on people who play Pokemon. It's kind of ridiculous. Like the investors always make jokes of like nobody plays Pokemon, but I think that's a very unfair fact. It's true. Like most of the collectors in Pokemon, or most of the population Pokemon, are collectors. So let's go back to Fabled real quick. So, do I think a booster box at 159 or 158, whatever? Let's just say 160. A booster box at 160 is worth it. So right here we got a couple listings. Okay, so 159 is the average. Now I've heard other streamers of Lorcana talk about this. Like, will there be a reprint? Because you look at all the booster boxes. Like I got one right here. Look at all these booster boxes. In the back it says EN01. So this is the first print of Fabled, and this is a newer booster box. I actually bought this for 150 or so by accident, actually, because I was at I was in LGS and saw a booster box, and I'm like, "Hey, can I? How much is that? How much are you charging?" And she gave me the wrong price, rang it up, and it was a different price. And I said, "I'll just take it anyways." It was like the last box, so I figured I might as well take it. That being said, 150, if you have a Pokemon mindset, 150 is cheap to us, right? Because a booster box of Pokemon is 160 plus some change, 170, right? MSRP. This is market price right here. $10 above, $10 to $20 above MSRP. So this is cheap, right? Compared to anything. And I hate to compare it to Pokemon, but it's really the only thing I personally know. So I would be wary that a reprint of Fabled could possibly happen. So I'm just letting you know that it could possibly happen. Again, I've heard other streamers of or YouTubers of Lorcana say it doesn't make sense for Ravensburger to come out with a new or a reprint of Fabled, because one, it's just reprints of first chapter, and they feel like it wouldn't do anything to progress the game forward, because it seems like Ravensburger really does care about growing the player base over what is collectible. Hey, is this going to be worth something? I think that's in the back of their minds, but it's not the priority. Um, so they print. They print a lot, and you can get some deals on Amazon if you want to from time to time, right? But besides that, I think they would reprint this because it's just my personal experience. Fabled and Rotation and the reprints of First Chapter was meant to be for people like me who come in fresh and we don't know any of these cards. We just know, hey, look, Goofy movies on this box or on the set. The iconics look great. Let me get into it. Ravensburger wants people to play, so they make it accessible enough for a new person to come in, keep up with the meta, and then play. And that's how me and my wife started. After a while of ripping Fable, we are just like, man, we have enough cards that maybe we should learn how to play. And then that's how it went. We bought one of those starter decks, and it was just as easy as that. So let's take a look at some singles. I think it's worth looking at. Of course, let's take a look at all of these nice enchanteds, these two iconics. So let's look at the Mickey iconic, the big chase card itself. Right now, sitting at $1,200. I have never seen this in person, nor have I known any. Well, actually, I do know people who said they've pulled this, but never seen it in person. Nice card. It's a connecting art to the mini iconic. And right here, it's very steady on its price. About $1,200. And again, like most cards kind of see a dip. This hasn't, to my knowledge, has not seen any dip. There was a point where it was 2,000, but I think because of the rarity of it, people just thought, okay, we could get away at 2,000. That's not the case, guys. Like it's not gonna. It will eventually naturally get up to 2,000, especially if they stop printing Fable. So, letting you know, you're probably not going to pull this card. But the Minnie Mouse, also very nice card. I think this is about pretty decent price. $800 for this, because you really can't have one without the other. It just looks incomplete, right? So that being said, these are the first iconics. Now let's look at the Dumbo. Fortunately, I have this one. This Dumbo, at the same time, the art's nice, but it's also a playable card. Now remember, a lot of these enchanteds, you would think because an enchanted has a certain character on it that it would draw more, kind of like Charizard's, Pikachu's, any Pokemon, popular Pokemon you could think of, right? That sells the card. People don't care what it does. People don't care about the HP or the attacks or whatever, right? Only the players care about that stuff. But this card, even its non-enchanted counterpart, its legendary counterpart, Very expensive, right? So this one, you can see it's $235. Just okay. Well, that's a TCG player, right? Market price $268. Okay, let's look at its legendary counterpart right here. So normal, $42. Cold foil, meaning it's a hollow foil, $46. So not that much of a difference. But again, the only ones who care about this type of card are players. And what did I say earlier? Most of the population of people who are into Lorcana are players. And guess what? If you have 4 of these, you know, it's you could see how pricey creating a playable deck could be. So keep that in mind. If you ever want to rip Fabled and you come across this card, don't think you failed. This is just as good as getting like an illustration rare in Pokemon, like a nice one. So keep that in mind. That not just enchanteds are preferred, but there are plenty of cards that are playable enough that people want them, right? So if you're looking to collect singles of Lorcana, like if you don't care about the game, yeah, go for the enchanteds. There are plenty of affordable ones, affordable nice ones actually. So let's see. Pongo, one of my personal favorites. Very nice card, awesome. The only thing I will say about Lorcana Enchanted is I wish they had texture. Like it's funny because the legendaries have a little bit of a texture. So like this card right here, there's a bit of a raised, like on the picture of Hades, there's a raised, I don't know what to call it. Like the picture is actually raised up from the card just a little bit to create a little bit of a texture on that. I wish they would have done that with the enchanteds. Maybe I should take a look at it again, but I'm pretty sure they're mostly flat with nice hollow parts to it, but very affordable. So Pongo right here, sorry about that. So Pongo is about $73. My personal all-time favorite one of this set is the Scar Finally King, sitting around 128, and really really not a bad price for something that's nice. Now, if you've never seen an enchanted before, I suggest going to your LGS or maybe someone you know that plays Arcana. Tell them to let you see one. You'll see the card quality is quite good, and you could see why especially certain Disney fans would be a fan of this entire IP, this entire product. So this is the card I'm missing right now. Winnie the Pooh, Honey Wizard. Now, by the life of me, I don't think this is not even like a really playable card. Even its counterpart isn't really popular in play. Like, look, if you look at it, it really does no effect or anything. But yet, it's $237. I don't understand. But if you were to look at, funny enough, if you were to look at popular IPs, Winnie the Pooh is actually like top 10, top 5, top 10. Pokemon's number 1, of course, right? Pokemon is number 1. But in that top 10, I think Disney owns like 5 or 6 of those IPs. So Winnie the Pooh is one of them. So yeah, go figure, right? Now this one is awesome. This one pulls at the nostalgia of people who grew up watching Goofy movie. So if you're a Goofy fan, Goofy movie fan, this is like the set for you. If like you only want to collect like Goofy movie cards, there's a couple of good ones. So Eye to Eye right now, 166, not bad. Very nice style here. You got, like power line. You got this triangle right here of the main characters. I know Powerline's not the main characters, but he is a plot mover, plot line, Very good card. And then you have Powerline Rockstar. Just an awesome take right here. And this one is $109. So you could probably get it for 95, 90, 95. And then you have the Max Goof, which is another great card. Very affordable too. 112. So yeah, again, there's something for everybody here. Like, I wouldn't consider myself a Disney adult. Like, I watch some of the movies because I have kids and they watch all the movies. But there's only a few I like, and I like Goofy movie. So let's take a look at another set. Because I feel like Fabled gets all the love. But let's look at Whispers in the Well. That is the most current set right before Winter Spell, which is about to come out in like a couple of weeks. So right now, booster boxes for Whispers is $107. Now, note this particular set has 2 iconics in it as well, the Hades and the Ariel. But yet it hasn't had any increase in value. As a matter of fact, it's performing like older sets before Fabled. Will that change? I don't know. But I think it's interesting that despite having iconics, having a good list of enchanteds, it still is able to drop this low, which is good. Good for collectors, good for players. So let's look at some of the singles here. Now, there is something interesting about this set is that every card, or most of the enchanteds, I believe, are playable cards that people want. I don't know anyone that plays with enchanteds, but I'm sure they're out there. So let's look at the Hades. I've seen this one in person, and yeah, like, dude, these iconics are the real deal. Like, they actually look very nice, better in person than they are just by looking at this picture. So right here, we got about 500. Let's look at the. Okay, that's a little bit of a exaggeration. Let's say 420. Let's say 420. So awesome card. And I want you to read its effect. When you play this card, you may choose an opposing character. If you do, draw 2 cards unless that character's player puts that card on the bottom of their deck. So it's a pretty funny effect. So I have the card I showed you earlier is the legendary counterpart right here. So it's pretty funny playing this card. and just pointing to your opponent's character and just say like, you either let me draw 2 or you put that in the bottom of your deck. I've seen most of the time people are willing to just sacrifice their character because they don't want you to draw any cards. And in the nature of Lorcana, it's like it's first to 20 points, and yeah, so you don't want your opponent to draw anything that allows them to, one, build up their ink, which means I could explain the game, but build up their ink so that way they can summon more powerful characters, or play characters. Yeah, summon powerful characters, or play actions or songs. So it's pretty interesting the way the player mindset works in Lorcana, and I'm sure it's like this for every TCG, right? This is like the real first TCG I've ever like invested in no, wanting to get better, wanting to learn how to play. So my personal chase for this whole entire set is Spooky Sight Enchanted. One, you got Goofy, Mickey, and Donald, and then the Headless Horseman right here. Man, this should have been the iconic. In my opinion, when you say iconic, it means like, yeah, like it's something either from a scene of the story they're trying to tell, or from, just like classic Disney characters. Iconic. And this has the main 3: Invisible Sight and Headless Horseman. This should have been the iconic, in my opinion. 154. I might just buy this, man. Like, I've been trying to find this card, but yeah, I think I might just end up buying it. And I do like how the like, for the most part, most enchanteds, the text doesn't get in the way of the picture. Looking at you, Mega Charizard, but yeah, it doesn't get in the way of the picture. So yeah, you get a full view of everything. Let's look at the Ariel Iconic. Awesome card. I think it's the scene where Ariel's getting her voice back. So this one's 431. And it's about right. 431. And there is something different I noticed about Lorcana in general, is that there's a lot more women in the player base than I see in like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering when I go to an LGS and see the player nights, right? One Piece included. Yeah, a lot of women play this, and it's pretty obvious. It's because it has a lot of IP. Speaking of IP, Disney Princesses is also one of the top 10 IPs ever. So, yeah, makes sense why there would be a lot of women interested in this product. But also, you could see they put a lot of effort into making sure there's a story to be told, because I guess I've always realized this, but Lorcana, whether it's Lorcana, or a Pokemon set, there's a story behind each box, right? There's a whole overlying story. But Lorcana, it seems to be a continuous story that goes on, and Magic the Gathering has it too, but they get distracted by their universes beyond, and I'm sure the main player base hates that. But yeah, I digress. Here's another expensive card. So Demona right here. $22 normal, but you get the shiny version. It's $33. Very good card, very playable card. Again, most people would want these in sets of 4. So, if you manage to get 4 of these, it's very good. I would, me personally, if you're just into collecting, you don't care about the investment piece, you don't care about whatever, I would try to master set because one, it's not like Pokemon where you got the regular card, you got the reverse holo, then you got the holo, and then you got the EX, and then you got the SIR, then you got the IR. There's really only the regular and then the foil for the base set. But then there's epics, legendaries, and enchanteds, the 2 iconics. So right now it's kind of small, and I'll show you what an epic looks like. I know this is all like show and tell right now, but this video is mainly for the Pokemon collectors that are maybe looking for a switch or looking for something that's less chaotic. So right here, this is an epic right here. Borderless right here on the sides, and the symbol right here. Kind of a mushroom cloud. But these were introduced in Fabled as well. So not too expensive either. Very nice cards when you see them in person. But besides that, let's take a look at an older set. So these sets right here, first chapter, Rise of the Floodborn, Into the Inklings, Ursula's Return, those are out of rotation. So you can't play those in tournaments unless it's a specific rule set like Infinity Weekend, which means you get to play whatever set you want. But let's look at Shimmering Skies. So a booster box for Shimmering Skies. Oh, geez, see, look, $84. This is a steal, man. Like, if I was to recommend, like, outside of Fabled, guys, I would recommend Shimmering Skies. I was gonna say Arceesi's Island, but I think Shimmering Skies has enough fun cards and enough, like, because it has 2 Lion King cards, which everyone likes Lion King, but it also has some very colorful, very vibrant type of enchanteds. So let's take a look at it. So first, the top chase is the Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock, going for $154. Not bad at all. The Clarabelle, which is also a very playable card. And you could see there's a common theme amongst all the enchanteds, right? Like, and man, I really hate to keep saying Pokemon, but like that's just the only thing I know. Pokemon, you can have an SIR, an IR, and they could be complete. Like, you wouldn't know it's part of that set. So with Lorcana, I noticed that all of their enchanteds look like they belong in the same set because of whatever story they're trying to tell with said set, like Shimmering Skies. Don't ask me about what the story is. I still need to read it. But you have the Scar right here, which, again, if you're a Lion King fan, look at that. He has like that picture of young Simba right here, and he's standing on that rock where he was singing that song. Dude, it's freaking cool, man. If you're a Robin Hood fan, underrated movie, probably one of the best Disney animation movies ever. Just a beautiful card right there. And of course, if you're into classic Disney, got Donald Duck, Pie Slinger. I gotta pick this up. It's only $38, guys. That's insane. $38 for one of the most iconic cartoon characters ever. And yes, the cheapest, if you can see right here, the cheapest enchanted you could pick up today is about $23. That's amazing. Let's look at an out of set or out of rotation set. All right. Let's look at first chapter. Why not? I feel like that's a little unfair, but first chapter, because you know these cards are going to be expensive. Anything that regards the first, usually expensive, but you'd be surprised. So you have the Elsa, which is, people would say this is the Charizard of the entire Lorcana space, right? The base set Charizard, 721. But notice the design of the enchanted, earlier enchanteds. They look like the epics that I showed you earlier. And I think they purposely wanted to keep that design, but they didn't want to add a new rarity. In my opinion, maybe because technically, it's the same rarity, right? Enchanteds, but this Elsa card compared to, let's take a look at it real quick. Compared to this Elsa card, I know it's not it's a song card. Can't hold it back anymore, but it has Elsa on it. This compared to the first chapter Elsa, it just seems like the upgrade is so much better visual wise. But I digress. That's just my opinion. So we got some other cool ones. Another Simba walking up Pride Rock. Very cool. $96. Not a bad card, especially because it's an iconic scene. And I I really like that they have these labels they give these characters. So right here, Simba is a Storyborn. So from what I've noticed, Storyborns are like the character, like Simba, is resembling the one we recognize from the movie, right? And he's a hero, he's a king. But let's see. You got Tinkerbell, Giant Fairy, Enchanted. She's a Floodborn. Now, I remember reading about this. Floodborns are sort of like an alternate take of the character, right? So not necessarily, yeah, I guess you can, if you were talking about multiverse, sort of like that. Like right here, you got Hades, King of Olympus. So this is like a version of Hades if he became King of Olympus. Pretty funny stuff. So let's look at Maui right here. Pretty cool. Storyborn, right? $114. I would be careful of if you're gonna buy some of these online on like eBay or whatnot, because these have like the fakes, and I've seen the fakes. They're pretty man, there's like subtle differences. It's not like a major one. Like when you find a Pokemon card, if it has no texture, it's flat, feels flimsy, glossy. In Lorcana, the fakes, man, if you don't have a keen eye to it, it looks very convincing. There have been it's gotten me paranoid of buying online. So, guys, if you're gonna buy from a trusted seller. If it's not a trust, if you don't know the seller, then ask for a lot of pictures, especially close-up ones to see. And I know there's a bunch of videos on YouTube that help you decide, or help you decide whether a card is real or fake. Like you can, they have like a method of checking. But just warning everyone out there is that the fakes can be pretty convincing. Let's take a Rise of the Floodborn. This is probably the second most expensive set. I take that back. It's only $126. I thought it was more expensive than that. So, but let's take a look at their enchanteds. This one is really cool. Namari, Morning Mist. Very, very strong looking card. Right, $26, man. This is crazy. And yeah, the chase here is a Cinderella, $132. You can see how affordable a lot of these enchanteds are. But like I said, be careful of where you're buying it from. Make sure they're legit. So let's take a look at my least favorite enchanted group, Azurite Sea. I do not like this design at all. I get what they're trying to go for. They're trying to go for, like, when you look on a treasure map, this is type of art style, but I'm like, dude, you're telling me we could be immortals? It was let me see how much this is. $33. Okay. You're telling me this kind of color and design is better than its counterpart? Let me show you the counterpart, guys. That's the counterpart. Dude, Ian McDonald creates some crazy art on his cards, but that compared to this, you're telling me, I'm going on a rant, guys, but you're telling me this over this? Dude, that's insane. But yo, what's up, Ice? Dang, what's up, brother? Yeah, I would say Azurite Sea is probably, in my opinion, that was just not the best bunch of enchanteds. But once again, most of the collectors, right, they're more, I've seen people going after this card more than enchanteds because of how playable it is. This card cooked me at a Infinity Weekend. Like, I thought I was about to whoop on this dude in front of me, but he brought out this card and just did some wizardry, and I was like, dude, there's some levels to this. And what can I say? Like, this card, again, if you're just trying to invest, if you're just trying to collect, then probably not for you. But again, these cards right here, these legendaries, and you could tell by the symbol, the gold symbol in the bottom, they do have some value, guys. So just if you're ripping some packs and you happen to come across some of these, it's not a waste. You didn't just like in Pokemon, it's like you get one of these EX cards. I guess this is the equivalent of an EX card, the double rares. You're just like, wow, that was a waste of time. But not for these. Not for these. The Maui is crazy. The Maui, the Max Goof deck. Yeah, that's for Emerald. Yeah, pretty good. But again, let's see. Rise of Ursula, another set that is out of rotation. But man, the value, $87 for this Warrior Princess Ariel. Dude, come on. Like, even the art. See, this is what I like about Enchanteds in Lorcana. Like I said earlier, is that all the Enchanteds look uniform for the set they're playing. Like, again, like you go to like Mega Evolutions or whatever other Pokemon sets, you can have different artists taking their own interpretation, right? And you sort of can't tell which set it goes where unless you look at the bottom. With these Enchanteds, you can actually like tell these look uniform. They look like they're all part of the set. Goofy for $40. Super Goof. Very, very awesome design, and if you're a fan of that. Oh yeah, Whispers in the Well, man, that has like the most value. There is one problem I'll say about Whispers in the Well, is that Amethyst and Sapphire seem to be the money makers there. So there's a clear bias towards purple and blue, because of purple. It has the Mona, not Cinderella, the Mona, Hades, Cheshire Cat, Dumbo, not Dumbo. Sorry, that's set 9. Just those 3 cards alone, just a lot of value. So yeah, Emerald Sapphire at DLC 1, and I actually am playing. That's actually my deck right now, is Emerald Sapphire. I think they played, I don't know, I have to take a look at the deck list, but I got like Cinderellas. I'm playing an Emerald Sapphire right now. I'm doing my first tournament tournament in a couple of weeks. And guys, the game is very easy to learn. Like there's a very easy learning curve. And in terms of like building your own deck, depending on what you want to build, it doesn't have to be too expensive. Now again, like this Super Goof, this kind of card design from the earlier Enchanteds, again, if you're buying online, just be careful, because again, I've seen the fakes. They're pretty convincing, like I mentioned before. So just be careful. I guess I'll put it in the link below. Like there's a YouTube video that lets you know how to check to make sure that that the card you're buying isn't fake or whatnot. So let's see. Arcasia's Island, very underrated. If you can, very cool card. I got this from my wife's gift for Christmas. This was her Christmas gift right here. Like, guys, like, if you got, for a mother with children and you want an excuse to buy cards, you present to her this card, she won't be mad. She won't be mad that you spent about 120 bucks to get it. Again, it's just nice art all around. Let's see. This one I'm personally gonna be buying. Donald Duck Flustered Sorcerer. Only because it reminds me of Kingdom Hearts. Now, I don't think Lorcana could ever print anything related to Kingdom Hearts because Square Enix owns the rights to it. And I believe Disney only licensed their characters to be in the game. They don't actually own any of it. So that's pretty unfortunate. Let's see what else is on here. Again, let's take a look at this super rare card. You can tell by the symbols. Again, this is a $6 to $7 card because it's right now it's part of the meta. It's playable. So let's see. Let me see what it does. I actually, my wife is trying to build this kind of deck. When you play this character, you may return up to 2 cards with cost of 2 or less each from your discard. Okay, that's I could see why. I could see why that would be a powerful card right here. I recently got this card. Dude, this is like the color scheme on this. This is a crazy kind of design right here. And again, only $64. There's so much value in these cheaper sets of Lorcana, earlier sets rather, that if you're just a collector, take a look. Don't just focus on Fabled. Take a look at these other singles. Now, if you're trying to keep things sealed, then freaking go for Fabled. But just know the reprint window, I believe, is still there. Because remember, rotation affected 1 through 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now 11 is still in play. So you would imagine that if they do another rotation, you would think 5, 6, maybe 7 is on a chopping block, maybe just 5 and 6. But so they could potentially just print more Fabled. If you were to tell me right now or ask me right now what to do, I would say buy 1 Fabled booster box and you hold that. Right? You hold that. Maybe buy 2. I don't know. But if they do reprint, then great. You'll see it drop. Most likely you'll see it drop to like 120s, 130s. Go ahead, still buy it. I think it's one of those sets that will stand the test of time only because of that iconic Mickey, which has been consistent since day one. Right. There is another form of collecting in Lorcana that I didn't discuss yet, and that's the promo cards. Now, if you're on the fence of just collecting Lorcanas, but you like promos, I know Pokemon had their whole promo hype. These promos are actually pretty cool, so let's take a look at some of them. So I know Ice picked up the Ice. He picked up like the Maleficent Dragon, or this one, dude. This promo right here. This is a crazy promo for the price. $24. Man, that's insane. I have one myself, but if your master setting set 9, you have to have this one because it has set 9 stamped on it. So awesome freaking card, man. And let's see. What is the highest promo right now? This one right here. Technically more rare than the iconic Mickey. Invited to... I gotta look up the history on this one. Invited to the ball. Now, I don't want to talk out of nowhere, but like, what was this, an invite card? Yeah, I don't know the history on that card and why it's so rare, but yeah, I have to take a look at that. Another good card. Stitch Rockstar promo, store championships. And I do like how there are store championship stamps right here for certain cards, showing that, you know, you went out, you went to play, because again, Ravensburger is more concerned about people playing than people investing or collecting. I don't want to speak for them, but I think in their minds they figure, well, if people are playing, they're going to collect at the same time, right? So they're not so focused on just collectors, investors. Ooh, this one right here, for all you Lion King fans, this is, myself included, $165. Holy crap, dude. And the holo foil is $800. Yeah, so with these promo cards, especially these full art ones, there are regular ones, and I believe there are holo ones. So, and I believe the holo ones are reserved for winners. I believe they might have a different holo foil to them. But yeah. Hey, what's up, Pratik? Okay, let's see. Now, in terms of product, besides booster boxes of whatever kind, now you were able to find these particular bundles, portfolio bundles, at Target during Black Friday. And for a while, they had them at $34 on Black Friday, and then it dropped to $25 at the end of the year because I think they're trying to empty it out. I recently saw that they restocked these, but now they're back at $49.99. My opinion, don't get them. Don't, like, one, you get 2 Floodborne packs and 2 first chapter packs, and then a binder. That's not worth, in my opinion, that there's a better deal out there for first chapter. And let's take a look at that. So skip the portfolio bundle, and if you can, then what is it called? The first chapter, it was the collector's set. There it is, right here. You get 6 packs for $47 on average. All right, let's say worst case scenario, $60. So it's either you pay $50 for 2 packs of first chapter, 2 packs of Floodborne, or you pay for this big box that you could have gotten at Costco for like $40, but paying $60 is not bad because you get 6 packs plus a promo card and a useless binder. Buy this if you can't afford a first chapter booster box. Because a first chapter booster box is $285. So yeah, Pratik, to be honest, I guess if you're really like looking, see, here's a problem with the booster boxes. They're not wrapped in plastic. So if you're looking for condition, you better make sure that person has pictures and make sure that the tape, because there's tape on the sides of it and then there's tape on the back. Make sure it's still intact. And most likely you're going to find EN02, meaning it's the second print. EN01, I've never seen one in person, but I've heard they don't have the tapes around it. So again, I don't know why they decided not to put these things in some sort of plastic wrap. Yeah, find a case would probably be the best thing, because I was talking to a guy who was selling first chapter Lorcana. He was telling me like for EN01, because they don't have the tape on the sides, you can actually shake out the packs from the sides without opening the box. So he said the safest way to ensure that your box is secure, that it wasn't tampered with or no packs are missing or replaced with something else, is to get a sealed case of first chapter EN01. Now here's another hot take from it. I'm starting to think it really doesn't matter if you get EN01 or EN02, because the cards inside are the same as EN01. Unlike Pokemon, when they were part of Wizards of the Coast, they had first edition booster, first edition sets. There's a stamp. There's a stamp on the card that says first edition. To my knowledge, there's no indicator whether a card is first print or not. The only way you could tell is from the plastic wrap on the back of the booster pack. So that being said, I'm wondering if it really matters if it's EN01 or EN02. So that's something to think about. Of course, if you can get EN01 and it's a trusted source and it's at a good price, then yeah, go for it. Everyone always wants the first copy of something. But again, the cards are the same, right? There's no indicator on the card itself to tell you whether this is first burn or not. So that's just food for thought. Stuff I've been thinking about. Like I'm about to just buy a booster box of EN02 and not care, but yeah. Other things I would consider buying that's not I guess not part of just a booster box. Let me see. Troves. Okay. So troves are interesting because again, there is no plastic on this. This is just like cardboard with a little rip. They have 8 packs. Now, are they worth the money? Well, when you count 8 packs and times it by 6, yeah, it's just about right. Like right now, a fabled Illuminator's Trove is $53, which is that's actually like damn, that's like MSRP for anything. So this is actually probably the most affordable Fabled product you can buy. Here's what a booster pack is. Never mind. Hold on. One booster pack of. Okay, yeah, so that's still MSRP. Okay. All right, so if you can't buy a Fabled booster box, like you don't want to pay $150 for it. You know what, man? Just get the freaking booster box, right? Unless you want to buy a bunch of art sets for sleeve booster packs. This option, you get a glimmer foil, like a glimmer promo card, and you get a binder, a useless binder, but you only get 4 packs out of this. So yeah, if you get this for under 20, good job. Under 20 is great. Don't buy this. This is false advertisement, man. Like, this shouldn't even be called a Fabled gift set because you don't get any Fabled packs. So guys, if you see this at the store, just know you're not getting any Fabled packs. You're getting Arcasi's Island, maybe a Rain of Jafar, 2 Shimmering Skies, and an Azurite Sea. Yeah, there is no Fabled packs in this. So if you can get it for under 20, great. All right, besides that, yeah, the scale method of seeing if a pack is tampered with. I mean, resealing packs. Geez. I mean, really, there's to be honest, there's really no. Right, yeah. I wouldn't worry about it too much, man. To be honest, for Lorcana at least, very common in Pokemon, but as of right now, Lorcana, nobody really wants it, right? It's a very niche product in terms of TCG. So I would say so far, again, if you're looking on eBay, make sure the store you're buying from, it's not just some random dude that has like one sale, but make sure it's a verified seller, sold plenty of related products, great reviews, of course. TCG Player, they're obviously pretty consistent. And of course, eBay, TCG Player will most likely take your side. Just if you feel like something suspicious, videotape you receiving the box, opening the packs, just to make sure. But besides that, Lorcana is pretty safe in general. And again, the environment, the community is very friendly, so very easy to get into. Like, just buy the starter decks right here. Starter decks you can find at any Target, man, for less than this. It's about $16 for one of these. If you and a buddy or your wife want to play, you buy 2 of these, and very easy to get into. It comes with 1 booster pack. Doesn't eBay own TCG? I don't know. I don't think so. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I would say overall, eBay TCG Player, good way to go. But I would highly recommend checking your local game stores. But if for Lorcana, they should be available at any retail most of the time, so you get an MSRP. So just so you know, like if you want to just open some packs, they're pretty much available, unlike Pokemon. If you're looking to invest and just hold a booster box, then yeah, like go for eBay, go for TCG Player. I would say if you believe in Lorcana long term, those $80 booster boxes I showed with Rain of Jafar, Shimmering Skies, Arcasia's Island, those might be something to consider if you're just wanting a cheap booster box or a cheap booster box to open if you're a collector. But if you want something that, in my opinion, would be like if you were to ask me, what's a for sure set that's just going to rise in value? Yeah, the first chapter, of course. But Fabled is also a good option. So either or, to be honest. But yeah, guys, and this was pretty much my presentation, my first introduction to being on YouTube live. So if anyone watches this in the future, then hopefully hopefully by then my quality's gotten better. But besides that, I hope everyone has a great rest of your night. And shout out to my friend Pratik, who always supported my endeavors. Shout out to Ice, who inspired me to just make content. And shout out to my family, who goes along with this crazy journey of mine. So God bless, guys, and I'll see y'all later.